Hello friends, and welcome to yet another one of my first drive videos. This is with the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. This one in particular is an SL. I'm actually very impressed because if you are a longtime viewer of the channel, like 4 years ago I reviewed I think a 2018 Pathfinder and I wasn't that crazy about it. Nissan finally updated it since 2014. It was not long overdue, but it was about time. Let's see how this 2022 Pathfinder is, and let's see if it's worth the upgrade. So like I said, this one is a 2022 SL four-wheel drive. I first want to talk about how much of a departure this Pathfinder is compared to the last gen Pathfinder. This is so much boxier and more SUV looking. The looks are kind of deceiving. It looks like it's not, it looks like it's shorter, but it's actually longer. The wheelbase is a little bit longer and the body is just a smidge longer. You can kind of see it in the front overhang. I really love the headlights on this vehicle and the V-Motion grille. Also, look at Nissan's new logo. It looks a little bit more up class. This whole car looks a lot more up class to me. This has a better all-wheel drive system than the last or current gen Pathfinder, but there is one critical flaw. Well, I guess two of them. The front and rear overhangs, but I'll talk about all that stuff later in the video. Something I like, if you're somewhat of a Nissan Pathfinder, not even enthusiast, but if you know about the Pathfinder, since the original one back in the late 80s, they've had these 3 holes in the grille, and they've kept it. Just such a nice looking SUV. This is in a gray. If you're familiar with Volvo colors, this is like Thunder Gray. If you're familiar with Toyotas, this is like cement. It's a nice looking gray, but I'd probably get Nissan's red because that looks really nice. You could see under the mirrors, you have a 360 view camera. We'll look at the cameras later because Nissan backup cameras and other cameras, sometimes they look good, sometimes they don't. I like the amount of cladding that this has. Honestly, this looks like a really nice SUV. If I was in the market for something, you know, this size, if I had a family, honestly, this may be it. Now, the rear, I really think they've done such a fantastic job. I also love these hip lines that this new car has. You can even see them in the wing mirrors when you're driving. It looks muscular and big and burly, and I love the tail lights. I kind of wish that they did a full light bar. That would look really cool, but I love how Pathfinder is spelled out on the back. Look, there's an old gen Pathfinder. Look at how much better this looks. Old gen, new gen. Sorry for the shoddy camera work. A 4x4 Pathfinder like this one can tow up to 6,000 pounds, which is 1,000 pounds more than the Honda Pilot and Toyota Highlander. You have a 7-pin towing outlet, well, towing plug. While we're already down here, let's pop the trunk. I love the beep, beep, beep Nissan chime. So behind the third row, it's actually not a bad amount of space. This is more than some other crossovers in this size. The Pathfinder is on the larger side of the crossovers. It's bigger than a Pilot, but smaller than something like the old Explorer. But the third row, let's see. This is a first look, so you're watching me learn how to drop the seat. Oh, okay. Easy. This one? Easy. Not bad. And then you can drop this. I'll get into it later. But this isn't bad space. And then if you push these buttons, oh, that just lets them slide. But there's even more space. But I am going to try out the third row. So let me put it back up. Underneath, there's quite a bit of storage, it looks like. That's actually kind of nice. I think that this is a good adventure vehicle. It's like if you want a Passport, but bigger, because the new Pilot has a great 4x4 system, well, all-wheel drive system with the VTM4, but this kind of looks more SUV-like, so this is more fitting to someone like me. This is where the problems lie for the off-road capability of this. Hopefully Nissan makes a more off-road looking package for the Pathfinder in the future, just like how Honda's coming out with the Trail Sport products. Subaru's coming out with the Wilderness products, even though they don't make an Ascent Wilderness, at least as of now. But you have a 16-degree approach angle. So that's, you know, look at how much the bumper protrudes. So if they cut it, and it looks like, you know, they can do it, it would have a pretty gnarly approach angle. And then if I remember correctly, it's a 15.3 degree departure angle, so they can still cut that. So hopefully Nissan does something about that, as you know, in a special trim level, but I guess it just depends on the market. Also, these Pathfinders have 7 inches of ground clearance, which is competitive, but it's lower than a Pilot, lower than the Ascent. But honestly, most Pathfinder owners are going to drive this on the road or light gravel trails. The powertrain is somewhat new for the Pathfinder. The biggest news for this is that they finally got rid of the CVT. Now they're using a 9-speed automatic transmission. I'm not sure which company makes this 9-speed. I don't know if it's the same transmission that Honda uses, but that's improved its low-speed crawl ratio to 20:1, which is just like the Honda Passport and other Hondas with the 9-speed transmission. I think just like the Jeep Cherokee as well. So it has pretty low gearing. This is the same 3.5 liter V6 from last year. This makes 284 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque. The base Pathfinder is front-wheel drive, but this one is four-wheel drive. Now about the 4-wheel drive system on the Pathfinder. Last year's model used electromagnetic clutch packs for the all-wheel drive system. This one uses a mechanical center clamp, as Nissan calls it. Nissan calls it a center clamp, so it can mechanically lock the front and rear axles. Not like true 4-wheel drive, but better than just clutch packs. That allows it to send more power to the rear wheels, which gives you more traction and supposedly better off-road capability. The old model just had like a center lock button, which didn't really do much. This one has 7 different drive modes, and a few of them are off-road terrain modes like snow, mud and ruts, mud. Well, you'll get the drift. I'll show you in a second. Now, inside of the Pathfinder is one of the places that I was honestly very impressed with. Now, the quality of everything feels really nice. I felt the seats earlier. The leather is so soft and it looks nice. I mean, it's not like, you know, like a luxury car seat. And also, this isn't the fully loaded model. This is, if you're looking at a Honda Pilot, this is the equivalent of a Touring. Highlander, this is the equivalent of the Limited and not the Platinum. But you do have quite a few adjustments for the driver and passenger side seat. They're so comfortable. Nissan's been doing a good job with their newer seats, and the materials all throughout here are so nice. All 4 windows are automatic. This model does not have power folding mirrors. That's something that you get on the Platinum model of the Pathfinder. Now let's get inside. I've also liked that they don't use that much piano black, and this is where the start button is. I love the sweep that cars do now. Now this has Nissan's newer steering wheel design. It's so nice. And on the left side, you have a lot of your audio controls, and these buttons control the center display up here. These buttons control your cruise control, Bluetooth, and your driver assistance settings. You also have paddle shifters on both sides of the wheel, and the headlights are automatic, but not the wipers on this model. Now looking at the gauges, you can control them with this over here. So you could go left and right. It has a compass and just general information. Within each section, you have different pages, which is very nice, and I like the gauges, but you can get digital gauges on the Platinum. But once again, looking at the dash, everything feels really nice and looks really nice too. I am very pleased. I'm happy that Nissan is doing a better job with, you know, the Pathfinder's interior. It looks more upscale. I know everyone's doing this with the screen, but I honestly like it. I don't mind it. I love that the climate controls are hard touch buttons. This also has a heated steering wheel and heated seats, of course, 3 levels. But now we're looking at the center display. Now, Nissan infotainment has not been my favorite in the past. This seems to have been improved. The responsiveness of the screen, let me go back because I'm confusing the car. The responsiveness is pretty good. It's pretty good, and there's a lot of stuff to go over in here, but you do have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. If you hit the camera button, there you have the 360 camera, and the quality of it is much better. It's much better. I don't have to put it in reverse, but you can see this is pointing in front of me. If I hit it again, it should Oh, this is great for off-roading. Can you see that? This is great, so you could line up. That's why Nissan needs to make an off-road trim for this. Now you have a better view of the front camera, and then that goes away. But if you put it into reverse, that also reminds me of the shifter. Look at that. It's digital, but it's kind of more normal. And now you have the backup camera with the 360 view and the guidance lines. You push for park, click for, neutral, reverse, and then drive manual. And then with the paddle shifters. Over here you have auto start stop, which actually works pretty well on this. And of course, like everything else, electronic parking brake with brake hold. These are all the different drive modes that you have, plus hill descent control. So that's why I think the Pathfinder is a pretty capable vehicle, at least in terms of the all-wheel drive system. So you have sand, well, let me go back. Sand, mud and rut, snow, auto, eco, sport, and tow mode, which is such an improvement compared to last year. This is top-notch stuff, and I think it'll actually work. Hopefully I get to have a Pathfinder for a longer period of time so we could see how good the all-wheel drive system is compared to VTM4 and symmetrical all-wheel drive. I like that you have Pathfinder over here, and this is soft too. Nice deep center console. Storage over here for pens or something. Nice nice glove box. This is damped, and this model has a panoramic sunroof, which I love panoramic sunroof. And over here, sunglasses, the usual. I wish they put LEDs in here, but I'm not sure if that's just because it's the SL and not the Platinum. So, coming to the back seat, the driver's seat is in my driving position. Step-in height, pretty good. I just don't like getting dirt in here. I love that there's two big cup holders on each door. Reminds me of the old Honda Pilot, but, it's just very useful when they're on the door. And there's two here. Oh, this is a 6-passenger model. And there's a lot of climate controls over here. So it's a 3-zone with heated rear seats, a USB-C, I love that, and a regular USB outlet. Very nice. I was about to look up here because SUVs don't have rear entertainment systems anymore because of iPads and all the other tablets. There's more storage over here and a spider, but nice armrests over here. The rear seats are pretty comfortable as well. You can look at it over here, but legroom is so good. I mean, to give the third row passengers some more space, I'd have to sit up here, which is still great. And headroom is decent. What's beeping? Rear door alert is activated. Okay, but headroom is decent. I'm 5'9". If this didn't have the pano sunroof, I feel like there would be a little bit more headroom, but this isn't bad. The moonroof makes it feel bigger in here, which I like. Getting into the third row is pretty easy too. Just like a lot of other SUVs, it's a one-touch. Oh, and I like that. I haven't seen a car like this before. And you can easily crawl in here. My 5'9" self. Ow. Make sure you put the headrest up before it digs into your back. And it comes back like this. Oh, but what I don't like is that it automatically defaults this seat to slide all the way back. So I don't have any legroom. But if it was slid up a little bit, I think I'd be pretty comfortable. Once again, well, these can recline. The headrest is like a little bit in my head, but I think I can recline the third row seat. Headroom is great back here. I feel like 3 teenagers could fit back here, but once you start to get a little bit taller and wider as you get older, 3 adults could fit back here, but it would be a pinch. I just noticed there's a USB port in the third row. Nice thinking, Nissan. And also you have sunshades on both sides and air vents, which is very nice. Now you can push this button, and then it slides the seat out of the way, and I can crawl out so we can go drive it. Oh, I'm starting to get thirsty. Okay, but clearly these are not my very first impressions of the Pathfinder because I've driven it for a few minutes to get to this parking lot already. But in the time that I was here, I can notice a difference in quality from the last gen Pathfinder. It's just a lot more, it just feels a lot better built than the old one. It does feel like a large car, Doesn't feel terribly big, but oh, you can see what the 4x4 system is doing. But let us get going. The throttle response is very smooth on normal acceleration. This does have an auto start-stop mode, and it works pretty well. As soon as I let the brake go, the engine starts. And I love the 9-speed in this. It's so much better than the CVT. The engine sounds good, which is something I can give Nissan props about. Now, I haven't really given it the beans yet, just because I want you guys to see my first reaction. But initial impressions just on, you know, these normal roads. Oh, it's so smooth. So smooth. It rides really nice. The switch gear feels pretty good. Going to turn here. This is a kind of twisty road. What I'll do is I'll put myself in sport. So you still have to kind of wait for it. You do feel the weight of this. This drives, it drives like everything else, I'd say, and not in a bad way. It drives like everything put in one. It feels like a car. There's not much body roll. Let's see here. There is a bit of lag in the transmission. It sounds like the rear seat hasn't really latched in yet. Let's see here. The road's open. Put myself in sport and peg it. Wow, there's some torque steer. Oh, so I'm looking at the four-wheel drive indicator, and it's just been sending power. In sport mode, it seems to send 100% of the power to the front wheels. And there was torque steer. Like, let's see. It has giddy up. It definitely has giddy up. It is not slow. Acceleration has been an improvement, but it's sending power to just the front in sport mode. I would expect it to send more power to the rear. I'm in auto mode now. I wonder if that changes anything. Like, no. And the transmission is kind of laggy. You know, I put my foot down. I'm going to, but I'm going around a corner. It does corner pretty nicely. Like I said, not too much body roll. The suspension is very good, but I'll put my foot down. It takes like 2 seconds for it to actually go. That seat really needs to latch back in place. It feels great on a corner. This is actually pretty pleasant to drive. I just wish it sent more power to the rear, you know, in a sporty situation. But it says 100% of the power is going to the front wheels. I'd like to probably find some gravel road and use the four-wheel drive. Let's see, even around a corner, if I give it some gas. Like the Honda Pilot in normal mode sends power to the rear. I don't believe that it's just sending power to the front. It corners beautifully though. Let's see. So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna count how many seconds it takes for the transmission to gear down. Floor it now. Now, the pickup is good. It's just, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm expecting too much out of it. Again, these are my first impressions on the acceleration. The acceleration itself, the engine is flawless. That was the one thing that the old Pathfinder really had going for it. Great engine, terrible transmission. The CVT was garbage. So I applaud Nissan for getting away from the CVT, but the tuning in this could be a bit better, I think. Could be a bit better. But this is, I'm coming up back to the rally event place location. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching this first look of the all-new Nissan Pathfinder. Well, Nissan. Actually, before I go, I'm going to put this in. snow mode. So I'm putting it in snow mode. Throttle response has died down, and now it is sending more power to the rear. If I put it in mud and rut, it sends, okay, I don't understand that. In auto and race mode, well, sport mode, it doesn't send much power to the rear. Kind of weird, but that's okay.